Today is May 6th. The wedding is June 11th. I have known about this for literally years because it's been rescheduled because of COVID. It is crunch time. Wish me luck. Hello, welcome. My name is Katrina and this is Moonbelly Makes. I am very excited to be bringing you today part 1 of 3, sharing the story, the saga, the journey of making a fabric bouquet 100% from scratch. This was not just any bouquet, this was the wedding bouquet for my best friend Lauren. I love weddings. I absolutely love weddings. I think they're so beautiful, the ritual of people coming together, communities, families, supporting, love. I just love it. I've been very lucky to be a part of some really wonderful weddings over the past couple of years, and I love making little things for my friends to have on the big day. And in the past, well, the biggest thing I ever made was I made an entire wedding gown with my friend and both of our mothers. The 4 of us, we made her gown. So that was the biggest thing until now. And then other things I've made are little bags, personalized embroidered bags for them to carry the rings in for the ceremony. I've also made a garter, and recently I monogrammed a handkerchief to catch all the happy tears. Knowing that this was a thing when Lauren and Jake were getting engaged, I can't remember what part of the process. It was either before or after the official proposals. Yes, there were 2. I love everything about Lauren, but one of the things I love about her in particular is that she really likes to dream big. So when I said, Lauren, what am I gonna make for you for your wedding day? I don't remember if she even really thought about this for a long time. Maybe it was just spur of the moment. It was so long ago, I don't remember. But she said, how about you make me a bouquet out of fabric flowers? I was like, that sounds great, but I had no idea how to do any of it. I had never made a fabric flower before. So she told me a couple things that she wanted. She wanted a specific color palette, which I didn't end up really following in the long run, but that's okay. And she wanted lots of textures in the fabric, which I did. I was able to deliver on that piece of the puzzle. So this is part 1 of 3, and in this part I'm going to show you all of the planning, all of the prepping, and then all of the testing that I did to make sure that the fabrics that she wanted would actually do what we wanted them to do. And in the following parts, I will be showing you how I actually made the flowers, and then how I arranged the bouquet, did all the final touches, and then how it fared at the wedding, which, spoiler alert, it worked really well. This was a really long project. It took me a long time, a lot of hours. I have over 26 hours of footage. This will not be that long, but there's a lot to share with you, and I really want to show how I did this because I couldn't find anything like what I was trying to do. I couldn't find any tutorials or any help for specifically what I wanted this bouquet to be. So hopefully this makes it into the right place, and if this is something that you want to do for yourself or for a friend or a family member, you'll now have the tools. I kind of figured out a lot of things that ended up working. So this is part 1. This is how I made a bouquet for my best friend on her wedding day out of fabric. So the first part of this was figuring out what I was going to do, what design Lauren wanted. I made a Pinterest board of things that sounded like what she wanted, added some pictures that she sent me from a trip to the Chicago Botanic Garden. We recently went through them and she favorited the ones that really were her vision for this bouquet. That was the first step. The next step was to get this giant box of fabric from my mom, who is always giving me supplies for my projects. Thank you, Mom. I have this beautiful big box of fabric. And then I started looking at how. So I looked at a bunch of tutorials online. I was looking at things for how to make paper flowers and also fabric flowers. And I found this person on TikTok. She makes felt flowers, and her technique and how she does it is really unique, really interesting, and exactly what I was looking for. Then comes the problem. This is not felt. These fabrics they're covered in cat hair. This is nothing close to felt. These things will all fray and they have no body to them. I've got a couple solutions, I think, that will hopefully work. First is really thick, heavy duty interfacing. I'm thinking I can interface on one side and then just glue another side onto it. And then I have an industrial amount of Fray Check. Fray Check stops fraying on fabric. It is like a glue that dries very clear, more flexible than a regular glue. It's specifically for fabric, so I got a lot of it. And then I found this on Etsy, Fuse a Web, the easy, clean way to affix fabric to fabric in applique and craft work. It is this glue web that when you put it in between two pieces of fabric and iron it, it should basically melt like a hot glue would and then fuse the two pieces of fabric together. Don't have a ton of it. Ugh. So I'm gonna start with this, and if it works, I'm gonna place an order right away for some more. I don't even know if the shop still exists. I got this ages ago. Other supplies, hot glue and 2 types of floral wire. This will be for smaller things. These are just going to be the actual stems that she holds onto. For these, I wanted to give them a little bit more heft. So I got some batting and then floral tape to give more of the effect of like an actual flower stem. I don't know how necessary this is gonna be, but I have it. For some of the flowers, I thought I might need some fiber fill, so I got some extra. I was almost out. The person I found on TikTok, she uses hairspray, and then sometimes we'll use a curling iron to make like curled leaves. I found this stiffening spray. It seems similar and it's like the same price. I got some premium stiffen stuff. It says perfect for fabric bows, doilies, silk flowers, crochet, and more. I also have, Lauren gave me this actually heat-proof glove, so if I do end up using the curling iron, I'll have some protection. And I have my scissors. I'm gonna use my hot glue gun, I'm gonna use my iron, I'm gonna use my curling irons. So all of my hot tools are stashed away. Wish me luck that I'll get it done in time. After the planning and gathering of supplies was all done, the next step was to start testing how I was going to prep the fabric for each flower. I chose 3 very different textures of fabric for my testing. This is a pretty thick velvet. This one is 100% cotton. And this, I don't know what this is, but it's either a poly blend or maybe even a silk. And it's just much thinner than the other 2. After carefully reading the instructions for the Fuse a Web, I tested a small piece on the orange velvet. Never use fabric scissors on paper. Next, I wanted to test the interfacing on the thin fabric, but then I just realized this is the same kind of stuff. This isn't interfacing. Yep, you heard that right. I basically ordered a different brand of a very similar product as the one that I had tested on the velvet. Instead of having that webbing, it was more like a sheet of glue. The instructions were very similar, so I just repeated the process on this thin fabric. Here is some actual interfacing that I had stashed away. I decided to try it on the 100% cotton, and well... Oh, this is already awful. It's so lumpy. I hate it. I can't do it. No. Thank you for your help. Then I wanted to try the stiffen stuff and the Fray Check both alone and together. Hold bottles 6 to 8 inches away from item. Press down, spray until fabric is wet. Allow 1 hour dry time. Clean spray cap after each use. Rinse nozzle by pumping warm tap water through sprayer. That's good to know. So I did a couple pieces with just the Fray Check, a couple pieces with the stiffened stuff, a couple pieces with both, and a couple pieces without any, just as a control. While those testers dry, I'm going to start cutting out some templates out of cardboard so that I can make all of the petals really uniform. After I finished cutting out all of the templates, the testers were dry, so I checked them out. The fray check dried pretty dark on the lighter fabric, which I was not anticipating, but on the velvet it looked great. The velvet piece with both the stiffen stuff and the fray check was noticeably stiffer. Kind of tried to show you, but didn't really work very well. On the velvet without the fray check, you can tell it probably would have benefited from having the fray check on the edges. The thin fabric with the stiffened stuff turned out great. I was so excited at this point. And even if I pulled on the edges, it didn't fray, which meant I could just do it in one step, just with the stiffened stuff, and not have to put fray check and stiffened stuff on every single petal. All in all, I was feeling pretty good at this point. The tests showed really clear answers. I knew exactly how I wanted to be making the petals as I moved forward. And I started to feel like I might actually be able to do this. So that concludes part one. I hope that it was interesting and that maybe you learned a little something about working with fabric and making it work for things that aren't sewing or clothing the way that we normally think of fabric being used. I will be sharing the next few parts of this project over the next couple of weeks, so watch this space, stay tuned. If you want more details or to see all the other projects that I have been up to, you can check out my website, and definitely come back for parts 2 and 3 of Operation Floral Wedding Bouquet. Thank you so much for visiting and sharing this little bit of time with me in my home, and I can't wait to share the next parts with you because I was really proud of this one. There's not a lot of this specific type of information out there, at least that I could find. If you have any questions about any of the details, feel free to drop it in the comments and I will get back to you. Or you can find me on Instagram and DM me there, and likewise, I will get back to you. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for being here. Bye!